Welcome back. We're going to talk to Kathy at United Housing. Kathy, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Kathy, tell us about United Housing, what that is, and what the future looks like for it.
United Housing is a new initiative that has been recently launched by the United Way Perth Huron. It is the culmination of years of understanding housing issues in Perth and Huron County, but more specifically about two years worth of work going into creating sort of the foundational documents for United Housing, and that would be having done a feasibility study and then putting together a business plan for launching a not-for-profit housing provider in Perth and Huron County. And it's a little different in that we do have a number of small, not-for-profit housing buildings or builds being run, but there isn't currently a not-for-profit housing provider that is across the region. We certainly have a lot of really great work being done by the municipal service managers and municipalities like Huron County and Stratford Social Services as the housing experts for provincial and municipal housing programs, but we don't have a standalone not-for-profit.
Kathy, I think you're the perfect candidate for this for a couple of reasons. From my perspective, 2 terms of city council. Part of your mandate would have been Stratford Housing Corporation.
Yeah.
You're working on the social research and housing, and also Social Research Council.
Yeah, the
And I
Social
better
Research and Planning Council, I sat on
correct.
that for 8 years and I chaired it for a number of years. So yeah, we did a lot of the sort of background research and data collecting on the housing issue.
How did that connect to housing and where we are today?
The Social Research and Planning Council does a lot of work around issues. They do transportation, intimate partner violence, quality of life report. They've done a number of quality of life reports over time, and a large part of quality of life is affordability and housing. How many people are in core housing need that need appropriate, better housing that is affordable? All of that kind of data that goes into understanding housing across the spectrum, not just affordable housing or social housing or community housing, but also market housing. A lot of that data, that the United Way collected rested with the Social Research and Planning Council.
Kathy, I know you were previously on an association for municipalities for provincial housing. How do you think
Yeah,
we're going to solve this with government levels, developers, nonprofits, etc.?
while I was on Stratford City Council, I did sit on AMO's, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, had a housing and homelessness task force, and they produced a number of position papers and recommendations, like hundreds of recommendations. And the best that I can explain this is it's basically all hands on deck, and it's taking a de-siloed approach to this. This isn't about how much can municipalities do, how much can provincial government, federal government, how much can not-for-profit or for-profit market. Everyone has to do their part. I would say that back to data, if you look at the curves of when did Canada add its most number of housing units, and when did it add? And then if you asked how many of the market, what did the curve look like for market housing, so developers? What did it look like for social and not-for-profit housing? And the curves both went up at the same time. We can't build enough housing. We need something like 3.5 million extra new builds over and above the pace that we're at now. I think that's CMHC's numbers to have enough housing for everyone over the next decade. So really, this isn't either or, it's everyone doing everything they can for this. And I think that's the important part of it, right? We got into this crisis 35 years in the making. It's going to take a lot to get us out of it. But I would say we need to learn some lessons so we don't come right back here again.
Just in summary, how is United Housing going to help with that effort?
Our whole purpose is to build, manage, and promote, certainly in the community, mixed housing. So we will build, acquire, and create rental housing. It's all rental, a third deeply affordable, a third attainable, that mushy number for workforce housing, and a third market housing. And it will be financially sustainable rental housing that we are are planning on creating, and it will help bridge that gap between social and community housing and market housing that we really need right now, especially around workforce attraction and retention.
Well, Kathy, thanks for joining me, and thank you for putting a roof over people's heads and the future that you have there. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you very much.
Coming up next is Martin Ritzma.